As we approach round 7 of the Formula 1 calendar, one thing has become abundantly clear. Outside of the top 3 teams, this season really isn't going as planned for anyone. From the depths of an Alpine team relying on a car that would be faster if they got out and pushed, to an Aston Martin team unable to recreate their awe-inspiring start of last season, it seems that all the good karma at the start of the season has been hoarded in its entirety by Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari. All of this comes at a pivotal time, with many drivers and teams currently having to make decisions regarding their future, with the vast majority of drivers from 7th in the championship downwards currently having contracts that expire within the final year and 3 quarters before the new regulations start. Surely the drivers, not only feeling unease within their own team's progress and inability to adapt, as well as the other options around them looking equally impotent, will be having some pretty hefty headaches, as the difference between staying at the back of the grid and kickstarting a resurgence of their career is a matter of a few scribbles of ink. One driver who has garnered a real cult following and has the backing of the pundits to do the latter of these two possibilities is Alex Albon, the man heralded with saving Williams and taking the team watched over by the charismatic and seemingly capable James Vowles up the grid and away from their decades-long poor performances. However, if buzz about the paddock is to be believed, it may not be Williams that Albon ends up saving, as the stars may align for him to be put in a car where he can finally enact his rather polite revenge on the team who abandoned him. Want to know why Alex Albon could be the answer to every question facing Mercedes? He's certainly made a name for himself at the back of the grid, but would this really be the right move both for the driver and for the team? And stick around, because if this does happen, it creates the ideal circumstances for a star in the making. It's safe to say that nobody expected Williams to be as impressive as they were last year. A rise from flatline bottom of the grid to a convincing 7th place in the Constructors may not sound too much to the glory supporters, but for those of us who had witnessed the drastic fall that Williams had suffered over the past couple of decades, it was met with a warm feeling of hope that we may well see the growth-based team rise back into the midfield. Hell, maybe we could even see them duke it out with the likes of Ferrari and McLaren once again a few years into the new regulation cycle. However, the expectations that this levied both from within the team and outside of it seem to have paled in the face of the stagnancy that the team currently finds itself in. Williams are currently one of 2 teams that are yet to score points, along with the equally disappointing and stagnant for its own reasons, Sauber. For Williams, due to multiple heavy crashes and delays to productions of both spare parts and upgrades due to a new chassis being necessary, as Williams had been unable to complete a spare one in time for the opening rounds of the season, this year has certainly been disappointing. If Alex Albon is feeling this disappointment, however, he isn't ready to show it in a Hamilton-esque jab or an Alonso-inspired rant, as the Thai driver had this to say. It's true that we haven't started the year where we wanted to, and it's been a bit tough for us as a team. We've not had the pace, and we've been a bit delayed in our updates and upgrades. I do believe the team is strong and healthy. I feel there is definitely going to be an improvement. It's always nice if it happens now, but James is the right person for the job. There is definite progress. It's a big transition and it takes a lot of work. There are some things at Williams. We're going to take a bit of time, a bit longer than we want to, but it's going to be there. So clearly the roots of dissatisfaction are there. However, Albon has made sure to reiterate his belief that the structure in place at the team has the potential to move upwards, while insinuating that it's the infrastructure supporting the team that will be the next big piece to fall in place to ensure that they are able to be competitive in the future. The good thing is, we are acting on those areas, we are making steps and we are leaving no stone unturned, so it's going to be better for sure, it's just timing. I would say that we've asked a lot from the team from last year to this year. You can see James has really put a big effort in moving the team forwards and trying to get the team back on a level where we should be fighting for, at least for now, towards the backfield of that top section of performance, the Astons and the Mercedes. It's a realization to some extent, just the steps that we have to make to be one of those teams. However, despite his belief in the long-term future of the team, Albon is, at the end of the day, a Formula 1 driver who will look out for his best interests above most other things. Williams certainly have an exciting project on the go, with them in perhaps a better place in regards to long-term projects than the recent upper midfield challenges in Alpine and soon-to-be established Audi project. But will they be in a position to give Albon a realistic chance at podiums and race wins, which Alex seems to be capable of in the right machinery anytime soon? Alex, given that he isn't blind, stupid or otherwise mentally encumbered, will have realized that if he wants to position himself for success in the short term, then he will need to look outside of his current safe, yet under his capabilities improving home of Williams. It seems that he is considering his future options and doesn't appreciate the rush he has been put under by the snatching of seats around the field, with the most recent pressure point being applied by Nico Hülkenberg's move to Audi, with Alex saying this in response to being asked about whether his future is with Williams. I won't comment for now, I'm still focused on this. Everything is moving early, very quickly. Obviously, Nico has pulled somewhat of a trigger at Sauber, and I'm sure the second one is going to follow soon. These next couple of weeks are where the decisions for the whole grid is going to be finalized. Interestingly enough, Albon was later pushed as to whether he felt a long-term contract was crucial to his considerations as to where he will be in the years to come, whether that be Williams or elsewhere, and he said it wasn't all that relevant to his considerations. You can already tell where this is going, right? Mercedes have spent the last 3.5 months monitoring Andrea Kimi Antonelli's situation, giving the young driver every possible chance to perform a miracle drive in order to give them a reason to yank him out of F2 prematurely, after placing him there prematurely. As well as this, they're having to walk a tightrope with fear pushing them from either side. Fear that they may lose Antonelli by bringing in another driver that will do too good of a job, and fear that they may well sign the wrong man for the short term, or even not be able to find someone willing to be the short-term fix in order to keep the seat warm for Antonelli. It seems that Alex Albon may provide Mercedes with a reasonable fix to both sets of fear, being a tidy and borderline non-threatening presence to the team, while also seemingly being open to the idea of a short-term contract. Not only that, but it would open up a slot at Williams for Antonelli, if he hasn't already replaced Sargent, to learn and progress alongside a team with a strong trajectory of growth and allow Antonelli to move into the sport without the pressure of the three-pointed star on his chest. Someone who seems to follow this thought process is ex-world champion with Mercedes, Nico Rosberg, who thinks that all of this Mercedes talk might just be a bit soon for the young driver. Antonelli is definitely a superstar of the future, but unfortunately timing-wise, it's really too early for him, and especially too early for Toto to be able to make a decision on Antonelli. He needs to wait until somewhat later in the year as to how well Antonelli does in F2 also, because he does need a really strong season in F2 to make it a possibility for him to go straight to Mercedes. Otherwise, if anything, some time at Williams or a team like that would make sense. However, all of this would be a bit too convenient for Mercedes, while providing far too high of a risk for Albon in the long term to be left out in the cold like Carlos Sainz is currently under threat of being. Moreover, it would seem that while he would be the perfect fix for Mercedes, it's going to take an awful lot of convincing to pry him out of that Williams seat, having already insisted that for 2025, he's going nowhere. Besides, we'd rather see Albon in a team where he is appreciated and given all of the love he deserves after the Red Bull debacle, and no place is better equipped, even if they are under-equipped elsewhere currently, than Williams. So perhaps the best thing for both him, Williams, and Antonelli is for Antonelli to join him there and learn under the tutelage, while someone else is the lamb for slaughter in the Mercedes seat. Please let us know your thoughts. Do you think we have this all wrong and Albon should throw himself back into the deep end at the top of the grid? Or do you, like us, think that he'll perform best in a healthy environment focused on building, rather than one that's in the midst of falling apart? Thank you for watching.